Hey YouTube, what's up? It's Gambles here, bringing you my very first episode of the Brewmaster Tanking Guide to YouTube on World of Warcraft patch 5.4.2. As you can see right now, I'm currently logged on to my monk, Gambles, on the realm Scarlet Crusade. For this episode or series of videos on YouTube, I'm going to break it down into a series of 4 videos. That way my talking will be kept to a minimum, and if you like what I'm saying, you can continue to the next video and I won't bore you for 15-20 minutes of lecture. So for the first video, we're going to talk about your talent builds and glyphs, and then the second video we're going to talk about your gems and enchants, and then the third video we're going to talk about your stat priorities, and then in the fourth video we're going to go strictly over what are your rotations for single target and multi-target tanking. So this is episode 1, video 1 of this guide. If you need something else, skip to another video. I'll put the links in the video or as well as the description below. So just go and navigate to what you need. Alright, let's get started. Turn on my UI here. Okay, so talent builds and glyphs. What's the best setup for Brewmaster Monk? Well, a lot of it comes down to personal choice, but I'll go ahead and show you what I use whenever I raid. For my talents, the first tier is movement, obviously. Tiger's Lust to me is the winner in this tier because it does a wonderful thing. It's only got a 30-second cooldown. You choose when to use it, and it removes all snare and root effects from your character. So if you're in a fight where movement speed is needed, or if you're in a fight and you get rooted and you need to break out of it immediately, Tiger's Lust becomes your best friend. Your tier choice for your second tier, your level 30 tier, is your self-healing ability. There's a lot of debate about this, which one's the best, but Chi Burst, not recommended at all. You basically have 2 choices here. You have Chi Wave or Zen Sphere. A lot of tanks use Zen Sphere because it also does a good AoE heal, but I personally prefer Chi Wave because what Chi Wave does is it's a damage to your target, but it also heals you. And it bounces back and forth about 4 or 5 times, and it's on a relatively short cooldown at 15 seconds. So whenever you use it, as you can see, it hits my target, comes back to me, hits my target, comes back to me again, and then so on and so forth. And by the time that is done bouncing around, look, my Chi Wave is already off a cooldown, and I can press it immediately again. It does a nice little damage and heal as well. The third tier, your level 45, is basically how do you gain extra chi and energy. The best 2 for these for a Brewmaster would be either Ascension or Power Strikes. Ascension basically just gives you another little chi bubble here, so you can get 5 chi instead of 4. But I prefer Power Strikes. Power Strikes is a unique talent that every 20 seconds you gain Power Strikes. And basically what that means is, as you can see, I already had the Power Strikes buff here. Whenever I use Jab, I generate 2 chi instead of my usual 1 chi as Brewmaster Monk, and that's very helpful for going into moves like Blackout Kick, which you use a lot, but we'll go over that in the rotation priority video, but not right now. The fourth tier in level 60 talent choice is basically your CC abilities. Really, any of these are a great choice, and I find it situational. Most of the times I run with Leg Sweep because I find that stunning adds is usually more effective than, say, charging Oxwave, which really is another add, but this is more like Spinning Crane Kick, as in it's AoE completely around you, as charging Oxwave only goes to the adds in front of you. So these 2 are similarly the same thing, but Leg Sweep is probably the better choice. Ring of Peace is a silence and disarm, which is great for enemies that do like spellcasting and even melees that you can reduce damage from disarming them. So there's really no wrong talent choice to pick here. Your 5th tier choice, level 75, is kind of a damage reduction choice or another self-healing ability. I personally like to help my healers out and go with healing elixirs because I find myself drinking Purifying Brew every so often, and definitely Fortifying Brew and Elusive Brew quite often. So it gives me an extra heal, and it heals for a lot, normally over 100k plus heal, just off of this talent choice alone. Diffuse Magic is worthless, so you're really going to be between Dampen Harm and Healing Elixirs for these 2 for this talent tier. Dampen Harm, it's another damage reduction, but with a certain glyph, Fortifying Brew really covers Dampen Harm in my opinion, so I just roll with Healing Elixirs. My most favorite talent comes from my last talent tier at level 90. A lot of people probably pick Invoke's Wind, the White Tiger, which is great for extra DPS, but again, I use the self-healing ability in Chi Torpedo, which changes my rolls into a Chi Torpedo. And what this does is it attacks enemies anywhere around me in an AoE fashion, and it also heals me and my allies for a significant amount. So if you're in a boss fight and you're the last one alive, and you're trying to do some epic heroic stuff and kill the boss with everyone dead, Chi Torpedo has come in very handy with me, and as you can see, I'm kiting and healing myself for substantial amounts at the same time. So again, quick talent recap. You have Tiger's Lust at 15, Chi Wave at 30, Power Strikes at 45, Leg Sweep at 60, Healing Elixirs at 75, and Chi Torpedo at 90. Those are my preferred talent choices. Now, let's move right into Glyphs. Your Glyphs, you really don't have a whole lot to pick from as far as Glyphs go, because Blizzard kind of screwed tank monks over. Really, the Glyphs I have here are probably about as good as it gets. There's only one other glyph for Brewmasters that can be swapped in, but again, it's situational and personal preference. The two glyphs that you must have to help you out are Glyph of Fortuitous Spheres, which falling below 25% health, which hopefully that won't happen too much, but when it does, it basically puts some orbs around you that heal you for a substantial amount, and it's at no cost. So they just pop up, you run through them, you save the rate, you save yourself by running through those spheres, and they just pop up automatically, so no button needs to be pressed. It's kind of like a passive, and it's really great for helping with your survivability. The next recommended and must-have glyph is Glyph of Fortifying Brew, which basically that increases your big defensive cooldown to increase defensively, meaning your Fortifying Brew reduces now an additional 5% and increases your health by 10% rather than 20%. So that is an excellent glyph. Those two are the mandatory glyphs for Brewmaster tanking. And then last but not least, you have an optional glyph. And there is two glyphs you can put here. Glyph of Spinning Crane Kick is great for helping move at the normal speed while picking up adds. So it's more of helping generate aggro instead of survivability. But if you're worried about survivability, then the other thing I would put here would be Enduring Healing, which increases the duration of your healing spheres by 3 minutes. By 3 minutes. But I don't really use Healing Sphere that often. I do occasionally, but I find it's more of a waste of chi when I can be using Blackout Kick or Guard or something else to help keep myself alive. So that's the only optional glyph there. With your minor glyphs, it's really personal preference. They're more aesthetic and I guess utility based more than actually helpful. I use the White Tiger Lightning for aesthetics for my Crackling Lightning, and then Spirit Roll for using Chi Torpedo when I'm dead, and then obviously Water Roll allows me to roll or Chi Torpedo over water, so it's kind of like a monk's version of water walking. So that's it for video 1, guide for Brewmaster tanking for the monk class in World of Warcraft 5.4.2. If you like this video, please leave a comment below and a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe. And if you want to continue and get more information on your gems and enchants, as well as your stat priorities and caps and your DPS rotations, go ahead and click the link in the video, or go ahead and choose a link in the description below. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching.